Well, it is certainly to be a hard-hitting affair. Christian Kobain, in the eyes of many, is one of the most underrated athletes. He's well known throughout West Virginia, but a lot of people say this is Kobain's time to shine and branch out, and Jake Something has branched out. And we've seen him compete in Impact Wrestling, where he's been a part of the Diener family, the Diener dynasty, with Cody Diener, and certainly made his name throughout the independents as Jake Something. Bit of an ironic name at that. But let's listen to Christian. Kobain trying to rally the troops here. And many of these fans are familiar with Kobain, but their very first appearance here in Conquest for Jake Something, we'll see how the fans take it.
And you can, just looking at him, you can already tell Something has the size and probably the strength advantage. And not really looking to have an let's go friendly or honorable affair, I would assume.
Yeah, not really what this is about for Jake Something. It's about making a name for yourself and seizing an opportunity.
Well, in a place where wins and losses matter, again, this is not a place. The end result is not what friends can you make, it's what position can you get on the card.
Well, and if you look at the resume, especially the championship resume of Jake Something, oh, how about that? Just pie-facing Kobain, and that to me, Jay Worth, is certainly a mark of disrespect and a bit of a condescending attitude.
Oh, yeah. I mean, absolutely. To be fair, when you're that big and tower over as many people as you do, you tend to develop that. I mean, when your meat and potatoes is your physical size, yeah, you may as well just admit that you're better than most.
Kobain's got to find a way around the power of Something. Keep the midsection by Kobain. Saw Kobain in a heavy-hitting affair with Larry D recently here on Conquest. If you can survive a matchup like that, you've done something.
Very true. Best hands in the business, or so I've heard.
We'll see him later tonight. And Jake is almost daring Kobain to fire off his best shot, trying to take the big man off his feet.
Daring him to do something?
I would suppose so.
Because his name's Something?
Oh, thank you so much for explaining.
That's why I'm here, Jake.
Jake Something is, we talked about his championship pedigree, former AAW Heritage Champion in the Chicago area. DCW, Border City Wrestling, Tag Team Wrestling for Scott D'Amore in Windsor, Ontario. And certainly we talked about his time in Impact Wrestling as well. Trained originally at the ROH Dojo about a decade ago. A largely unknown fact. Jake, I think, best known around the Michigan and Midwest area. You wouldn't think about him commuting to Bristol, Pennsylvania, where the dojo was at the time. But Kobain firing away with shots of his own now. And Kobain, as you mentioned, Jay Worth, Kobain's kind of a West Virginia stalwart, but many people say he's one win away from breaking out.
I mean, he absolutely has everything that he needs. It's just that putting it all together, especially when someone like Jake Something just knocks it all apart again.
Jake Something, that was not a full loose Hez press. Jake Something just collided into Kobain with his frame.
Jake Something is a wall, and unfortunately for Kobain, it was a wall that ran at him.
When you run into Jake Something, it feels like he ran into you. Whether it did or not, there's a backbreaker. And I'll give credit there to Kobain, kicking out it barely. A count of one, and I think that's a bit of a message as well to Something, that he's going to be able to withstand the punishment.
Jake Something just pulling Kobain up, and I think he just put another guy putting streamers into someone's mouth.
Streamers or something of that nature? Wrist tape, maybe?
It was either a streamer or toilet paper was what was thrown into the ring there.
Well, I know how you feel about West Virginians and toilet paper. I know how Kobain feels about firing off these right forearms. They're having an effect, it seems, maybe not.
Oof. Just tossed him from post to post.
Jake something just launched Kobain.
And now building up momentum. Oh.
A thrust kick connects. If you're Kobain, what do you do here to stay alive? What do you do here to seek out a victory?
If you distract the ref and hit him in the crotch.
What? Oh, well. Forgot who I was asking for a second.
I mean, you can also distract the ref, poke him in the eyes, but I think that might just anger him.
Well, the thrust kick to the side of the jaw of Jake something certainly seems to have done its fair share of damage. Shoulders down, but something able to pop up. It's so tough to get a tight cover on something. How you get to cover that big of a body?
Seriously, you have to get a decent level of impact or do something in which his feet naturally come up over his center of gravity, and then you catch it and keep them moving.
Oh, God.
And good night.
Kobain went limp before he hit the ground. Will that be enough? No.
We know Kobain can be knocked out. We saw that happen against Larry D. So maybe Jake something has been studying some tape.
I think it may be partly that, and maybe partly just Jake something, as the old adage goes, dancing with what brung him. He knows what's brought him success for the past decade, and man, if it's working, why would you change it?
Just landing forearm after forearm into Kobain. I can't tell if he's landing forearm or if he's actually getting the elbow in there. And he just lifts him up to the top rope like a feather. Kobain kicking the feet out of something.
And Kobain with that rolling senton that it floats to, or whatever you want to call it. Kobain looking for a chance there, and you see the shock on his face. Kobain thought in his mind he could pull out a Hail Mary there and catch the big man off guard, but not enough for three.
I was going to say, he did. The plan went just as expected, except for the part where he got a pinfall out.
And Kobain's trying to navigate these legs, and he does! Variation of a figure four leg lock.
I believe that's the trailer hitch.
And Jake something is in a bad way right now. He's contorted, and he can't reach Kobain to counter, and he can't reach a rope. Now he did. Oh, check this out. Now turning things around, and we got a full-blown trailer hitch to your point, Jayworth.
Good Lord.
Will Jake something tap out? Oh, those are some thick tree trunk legs, but when they're being contorted and manipulated against each other, that's only going to hurt you, as Kobain, forced to break something, uses his strength to get to the ropes.
And you can see something checking at that knee. He may have just made a weak spot. Ooh.
Kobain from the blind side. And a quick power out by Jake something. And again, that's the mark of a young veteran, a mark of somebody who knows what they're doing, to stay off their back as often as possible.
I mean, you ask, what do you do against someone like Jake something? I think Kobain may have just stumbled upon it. Don't be in front of him. Attack from behind as much as possible. And that it makes it a lot harder for him to get a hold of you.
Well, it's been gut check time for Kobain in this matchup, but he's done incredibly well, but something just exploded across the ring.
Speaking of checking a gut, good Lord, a diving spear into the corner.
And can you believe how quickly something was able to get across that ring?
He just flew. And now knee to the back, and now pulling back on the spine across the knee.
And when you're the size of something, you've got the power behind you, certainly the leverage as well. Something like this cracking on the head and neck of Kobain is going to hurt that much more than your standard chin lock.
And you can see the angle that he has the head at. Kobain trying to figure out a way to fight out of this. Gets to his feet, gets the knee out of his back.
Turns inward, alleviates the pressure a bit.
And now just backfist shots to the chest, but I don't know what effect they're having. There we go. Good hard thrust kick. Something knocked out of the ring.
And Something is dazed, but yeah, to your point, he's out of the ring, and at this point, well, Kobain, we've seen that before, psychs out his opponent, and then comes through with a suicide dive.
I want to point out Jake Something on his feet, caught him, and almost stayed on his feet, stumbled back finally and fell over. The size of Jake Something, even once he's hurt, even once he's worn down, still a factor that you have to deal with.
And Jake Something thought he had a moment's reprieve because he was outside the ring. He was able to get away from the onslaught of Kobain, but Kobain able to adjust beautifully. And now, the odds-on favorite Something is in a bad way. Kobain is just relentless.
Kobain, nope, up.
Oh my God.
Almost a variation of a Falcon Arrow.
Near fall. It's like a half a Falcon Arrow, half a Michinoku driver, but not enough to put away Kobain. And gotta give credit to the resolve of Kobain for staying in the fight.
You can hear the crowd chanting for Kobain. It's great to root for the underdog, but I mean, really, you guys ought to be paying attention to the giant man beating on Kobain.
It's hard to miss him, I'll tell you. Something has Kobain perched, and if one of those forearm shots can knock Kobain out, it's going to be a very long, awkward fall.
And Kobain flipping off Jake Something as he sits at the top of the rope.
Defiant and rebellious through anything is Kobain, as Something looks to take a chance. Superplex. Can he get Kobain over?
And Kobain was kicking at the feet. Jake's still up top. And then a headbutt to send him down to the mat. Kobain with a vest on.
And Kobain moved some motivation on that senton, but couldn't find it.
Perhaps looking for a Yule Float 2 there.
Kobain crashing and burning, and Something is ready to capitalize. I believe that was Jake's vest that Kobain had apprehended, and sidewalk slam with authority. That's got to do it.
Good Lord.
Well, Jake Something makes his Pro Wrestling Conquest debut, and emphatic, impactful, and physical. Kobain is one of the toughest pound for pound on this roster, and he survived a hell of a lot longer and a hell of a lot more than most. But at the end of the day, we're talking about Jake Something with a victory.
I mean, did you see how high he got him up for that slam? Normally a sidewalk slam, you catch him right about around your waist and bring him down, maybe your chest. He lifted him up to his head level and slammed him down. Just an absolute amazing performance from Jake Something.
And Jake has not left the ring. Kobain, and I respect the hell out of Kobain for being back on his feet so quickly. It's not something you'd see from a lot of athletes.
Sure. And there's a handshake, or an offer of a handshake. There we go.
Kobain reciprocates. Both men earn the other's respect here at Conquest, and still so much more on the way.